Burkina Faso's $2 billion organic medicine deal is a landmark for Africa's self-reliance, said China's ambassador. It shows the world that African nations, like Burkina Faso under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, can lead in natural health exports and set new standards for fair, mutually beneficial trade.
What if I told you that a single handshake could shake the foundations of a $400 billion global pharmaceutical empire? That right now, a $2 billion deal has been sealed not for gold, not for oil, not for weapons, but for something far older, far purer, and far more powerful. We're talking about Africa's ancient healing plants, the roots, herbs, and leaves used for centuries, now about to become one of the most valuable exports in African history. Welcome to Afrique Vibe News, where we uncover the untold stories shaping Africa's destiny. And today, our spotlight is on Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader, Captain Ibrahim. The man the West didn't expect to see rise, and certainly didn't expect to see pulling this move, in a world where African economies are often tied to Western aid and raw material exports. Has flipped the script. He's betting big on a sector the West once dismissed as folk remedies, yet one they are now scrambling to understand: organic medicine. This is not a side project. This is a $2 billion strategic alliance with China, a nation that has mastered the global herbal medicine industry to grow, process, and distribute Africa's most potent medicinal plants to consumers worldwide. Some call it Africa's green gold rush. Others say it's the next battleground in the fight for African economic independence. Stay with us, because in the next few minutes, we'll break down exactly how this deal happened, why it matters, how it will transform Burkina Faso's economy, and why the West is watching with both fear and fascination. To understand the weight of this deal, you must first understand the man behind it. Captain Ibrahim is not your typical African leader. Rising to power in 2022, he quickly established himself as a bold, unapologetic voice for African sovereignty. His speeches are not filled with the usual political pleasantries. Instead, they are direct calls for unity, self-reliance, and the end of dependency on Western powers. While some Western media outlets have labeled him a radical populist, across Africa, he is celebrated as a modern-day freedom fighter. From Dakar to Dar es Salaam, his name is spoken with respect by those who see in him a rare quality: the courage to defy the status quo. Inherited a country struggling with insecurity, economic stagnation, and deep dependence on foreign aid, many expected him to follow the same well-worn path of securing foreign loans and aid packages. Instead, he took a different route, harnessing local resources and knowledge to build industries that are uniquely African. One of those untapped treasures is traditional African medicine, a wealth of botanical knowledge passed down through generations. For centuries, healers have used plants like moringa, baobab, hibiscus, neem, and countless others to treat ailments, boost immunity, and promote overall wellness. This isn't just folk tradition. Scientific research from African universities and international institutes has confirmed the medicinal value of many of these plants. Yet, for decades, the global market has been dominated by Western pharmaceuticals, often sidelining African herbal remedies as alternative or unverified. But here's the twist: global consumer habits are changing. People are turning away from synthetic chemicals and embracing natural, organic, plant-based treatments. The herbal medicine industry is exploding worldwide, from herbal teas in Europe, to supplements in North America, to wellness tonics in Asia, and China, with its centuries-old herbal tradition, understands this shift better than most. That's where the opportunity arose. China saw in Burkina Faso not just a supplier, but a partner, a country with unique biodiversity, a rich tradition of plant-based healing, and a leader ready to transform that heritage into an economic powerhouse. 4. It wasn't just about exports. It was about building an entire value chain within Burkina Faso so that the real profits stayed in Africa, not overseas. The deal between Burkina Faso and China, valued at $2 billion over the next 5 years, is far more than a simple trade agreement. It's a multi-phase partnership designed to create a full organic medicine industry from the ground up. Phase 1: cultivation expansion. China will invest in large-scale organic farms in Burkina Faso's most fertile regions. These farms will grow both widely known herbs like ginger, moringa, and turmeric, and rare indigenous plants that are unique to West Africa's Sahel zone. Importantly, these farms will be run with organic certification, ensuring products meet strict global health standards. Farmers will receive specialized training in organic cultivation methods. Instead of small-scale subsistence farming, they will work within organized cooperatives, increasing both yield and quality, phased to processing and manufacturing. One of Africa's greatest economic challenges has been exporting raw materials at low prices, only to buy back finished goods at a much higher cost. Made it clear this cycle had to end. As part of the agreement, 3 high-tech processing facilities will be built in Burkina Faso, capable of transforming raw plants into oils, capsules, powders, teas, and medicinal extracts. These factories will be co-managed by and Chinese teams, ensuring technology transfer and local expertise growth. By processing locally, Burkina Faso will capture far more of the profit margin, while creating thousands of skilled jobs. Phase 3 Research and Development. A joint R&D center will be established in Ouagadougou to study and document African medicinal plants. This will not only ensure international safety certification but also protect African intellectual property rights, preventing foreign companies from patenting African plants without fair compensation. Phase for Global Distribution Network. China's logistics and shipping infrastructure will open Burkina Faso's herbal products to markets in Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. Using existing Chinese trade agreements, Burkina Faso can bypass many of the trade barriers that slow African exports. Projected economic impact. Economists estimate that beyond the $2 billion headline figure, the deal could generate long-term annual revenues of $500 million once the industry matures. Job creation is expected to surpass 50,000 positions, from farmers to factory workers to export specialists. The Western reaction was swift. Pharmaceutical lobbies in Europe and North America voiced concerns about unregulated herbal products flooding the market. Some politicians framed the deal as China exploiting African resources, conveniently ignoring that, unlike many Western deals, this one keeps production and profits largely in Africa. For decades, African herbal medicine has been sidelined in the global market. Western pharmaceutical companies often isolate active compounds from African plants, patent them, and sell them back as expensive drugs without credit or fair payment to the communities that originated the knowledge. This deal changes that. By processing and branding the products locally, Burkina Faso and potentially other African nations will control their own narrative and market presence. Strategically, the West fears more than just economic competition. They fear a precedent. If Burkina Faso succeeds, other African nations may follow, forming herbal medicine alliances that bypass Western pharmaceutical giants altogether. Already, the deal has inspired interest from neighboring nations. Mali, Niger, and Senegal are discussing a possible West African herbal alliance, where member countries could share resources, pool production capacity, and jointly market products globally. This is Pan-Africanism in action, not just as a political slogan, but as a concrete economic strategy. A united herbal medicine industry could rival Asia's dominance in plant-based treatments, creating billions in revenue and millions of jobs. For ordinary Africans, it's not just about the money. It's about pride, about valuing what has always been ours, and about proving that Africa can compete in cutting-edge industries without foreign aid or dependency. Ibrahim Traoré's $2 billion organic medicine deal with China is more than an economic agreement. It is a declaration that Africa's wealth is not just in its mines, but in its soil, its plants, its traditions, and its people. This is a Frick Vibe News, and we'll be here to track every shipment, every new farm, every factory opening. Because if this works and the signs are strong, we are witnessing the birth of an industry that could change Africa's place in the global economy forever. So tell us, is this the future Africa needs? Or will the West find new ways to push back? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share this story, and subscribe to a Frick Vibe News for more untold African success stories. The future of Africa's health and wealth is growing quite literally in our own backyards.